Sounds good. Joe, Hallie, hello. Uh,
Hello.
Good to see you all again. I'm
Likewise.
I'm gonna go ahead and present my slides. I don't know if you've seen the movie Moneyball. It's a baseball movie with the Oakland A's. So basically, in baseball, they were doing the old school way where they had scouts, and then they ended up using statistics and data, and they ended up winning 20 games in a row. It's like an underdog story, just like us. We basically took that strategy and brought it into agriculture. So instead of one bacteria, we build teams of bacteria that improve farm success. And so a little background, I was in the military 6 years. I served in Afghanistan, Iraq. I have built a previous company to $10 million in annual revenue. I've also worked for a lot of corporations, so almost five Fortune 100 companies. I met Gabe at the University of Illinois. We were both, he was doing his PhD, so a lot smarter than I am, and I was doing my master's of business. And we were in the same program, and I saw him. I'm like, man, this guy's smart. So just happens to say at the end of 2018, he asked the program we were in. He's like, hey, I need somebody to help me run this. And I said, hey, Gabe, I think I can help you do this. So I said, I don't want anything. I just want to see if we work well together for a year. And after that year, well, 6 years later, we're still working together. So it ended up being a fruitful partnership. Gabe's, uh, I'll let Gabe speak so he can tell.
Howdy, Gabe Price. I guess I'm the scientist of the team. I grew up in the Quad Cities area, so basically rural Illinois. Um, yeah, I did my undergrad at St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa. I worked on biology and then did research at Michigan State University on soybean and the effect of different fertilizers on yield. Uh, then I took that research and went to the University of Illinois and looked at basically how kind of what we do at Earnest, how we figure out which microbes we can put together to suppress disease in corn and soy.
Yeah, so this is a little snapshot of our investors, advisors. Obviously, we have a lot more, especially with Ag Launch, which has been super helpful partnerships. Um, yeah, so we took Gabe. So one of the biggest problems, as you all know, I'm just basically speaking to the choir, is we have unstable fertilizer prices, and then weather inconsistency. And then on top of that, is an unclear choice in the biological marketplace. So there's a ton of biologicals in the marketplace. It's super hard to figure out what the hell, which one works, which one doesn't, and why the hell there's so many there. So last count we got was 1,800 companies out there. And then you have like a breadth of them. Some of them making in the garage, someone actually doing, with scientists. So super hard. So that's one of the biggest problems. The problem that we see with biologicals is that we've been trying to use them like chemicals. So with chemicals, you have a problem and you basically do the chemical and you solve that problem with the chemical. With biologicals, specifically bacteria, they're living organisms. So um, they don't they don't act like they're supposed to. So they're living creatures, and you gotta pet them and you gotta feed them, and they're special. So they're kind of like dogs almost. Um, so this has caused inconsistent performance of biologicals. So as you all might see, if you've tried, it works one year, it doesn't work another year. You're like, what the hell? So with chemicals, it always works. So you put it on and it freaking works. So those are basically the problems that we have. So what we did, we went to untouched protected prairies across Illinois. So these are grasslands. And basically a culmination of Gabe's studies, he learned this at Michigan State, is in these fields, there live bacteria that both promote and protect plant growth the way nature intended. And so what we did is we went and got soil samples, pulled the bacteria from these lands, and that's how we started basically building our database of bacteria. And then on top of that, you layered that with the Moneyball strategy I discussed. So what we do is we look at each of these bacteria and look to make sure that they fit into what we call the three pre-growth standards. So do they protect the plant? Do they promote growth? And do they perform? And then using statistics and data, we build these combinations of bacteria. And what we figured out is that each crop type, so like soybean and corn, they require different combinations. So we've seen better performance if we definitely create a combination for like soybean and a different combination for corn. And so we've created two products. Prairie Power is our biostimulant, so it does plant resilience and nutrient efficiency. Um, and then we also did a biopesticide, which adds on the seedling disease defense. For plant resilience, we do drought tolerance, growth hormone. For nutrient efficiency, we do nitrogen, phosphorus, iron use efficiency. And then for seedling disease defense, Pythium, Fusarium, uh, to name a few. So we really think about this holistically. So again, if you might have worked with another biological, they might have just focused on nitrogen, or they might have just focused on disease. We think that we need to think of it holistically. So not only focus on one thing, but focusing on, again, these are living organisms, so we have to treat them like that. And so providing various benefits across the life cycle of the crop. And so our field results are, these are a snapshot. So in 20, so we've also tested other biologicals and we saw that they decrease yields by up to 25%. And then for the past 2 years, we've saw consistently 6% yield increase in soybean. This is third party tested and across 8 locations what we did last year. So 5 states, 8 locations last year. And then our disease trials that we did with the university, we saw that we didn't just compete with chemicals, we outperformed them by 5% at protecting against disease. And Gabe, this was soybean sudden death.
Yeah, so more specifically for this trial, the 2024 disease trial that he's talking about, with the University of Illinois, they put out soybean sudden death, so Fusarium graminearum, and they found that relative to the traditional fungicide package you put on a seed, the stand count of surviving soybean was on average 5% greater for that trial.
So we're really happy with these results. And then this year, we're definitely increasing that. So just to give you perspective, last year we did, which actually I think I'm talking about in a few, but last year we only did 5 acres, and this year we're almost over 1,000 acres. So, and largely that is due to egg launch. So we would not be where we're at without egg launch. And so to give you the 6%, what that, this is kind of using Illinois bushels, but we see about a 4.5 bushel increase using that 6%. Fertilizer, this is what we saw in the greenhouse. So we estimate that we can save 20 pounds of fertilizer. We are actually doing a test with the University of Illinois to kind of nail that to ensure we get real world data on how much fertilizer we can save. But so what we see is putting $15 in and you get $53 back in total money back. So 3.5x ROI using what the data that we used in the previous 2 years. And then I'll let Gabe talk on this.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different biologicals as you stated and as you all know. We consider ourselves in the bin of what we would say is a bacterial system. So we are not focused on a single bacteria. We only focus on the use of bacteria. So we're not like other inputs that might do extracts or might do individual compounds from bacteria or plants. We look at bacteria and we make combinations of them. We have a platform that does basically the math and the figuring out which bacteria should be placed together in order to make a product that's better. Um, yeah, and there's a lot of different approaches you can take. In this image, you can see several others. So there's the approach where you just kind of have like a compost tea where you make a lot of bacteria and you kind of use it to make increased yields, or if you have other synthetic inputs that are also have the goal of increasing yield and having various benefits for the crop. But we're focused on a platform that places bacteria together to make multi-strain products. Now, there are a few other companies that do multi-strain products or products with multiple different types of bacteria. The two others that stand out to us are Jord Biosciences and Bioconsortia. But where we're different than them is that Jord Biosciences focuses on partnering with corporations to enhance the efficacy of their microbes. So they are geared towards companies being their customer. On the flip side, Bioconsortia um, is focused on a bottom-up approach. So they look to discover combinations in the wild and then make them into products. We are focused on building a product that we sell uh, to farmers rather than partnering with companies to enhance their microbe, uh, the products that they currently have. Eddie, you
I touched base on this a little bit, but as I said, last year we did 5 acres, and this year we're over 1,000 acres. So we have our footprint has increased over 20,000%. So, which is which is it's a wild number for us, but it's we've been really putting stress on our manufacturing, on our deliveries. So this year we'll have 22 third-party trials, 11 farmer paid trials, and then through 2 channel trials. So we do have the ability to increase. I think we have maybe 3 farmers we can add. If I keep saying that, Gabe's going to kill me. But we do have some more farmers we can put on. We can trial with our products. So, but yeah, so you can see a big expansion. So, and as I said, we're backed by leading organizations. Ag Launch being our #1 for sure. But then here's some other ones that are in different areas. So like Grand Farms up in North Dakota, Creative Destruction Labs up in Canada, Agronovas in Indiana. We just recently, this is not public, but we just got into Dairy Farmers of America. That's in Kansas City, and Ag Ventures Lions in Iowa, University of Illinois, and then Generator in Illinois, Champaign, Illinois. So those are the kind of the ag ones. Yeah, and we are raising a $500,000 bridge round. So we did have a lead come in for the 100,000, and then some of our customers are actually coming in as farm customers are actually coming in with investment in this round. So we're excited about that, and that'll help us get this year complete. So it'll give us 18 months. So then we can raise a $4 million round, which will then allow us to expand. But this will get us this through this year. So that's why we're raising 500,000. Yeah, now open it up to any questions. Again, we're Earnest Agriculture, and we're a probiotic matchmaker for farming success. And always looking for investors for a 500,000 bridge round, and always looking for row crop farmers looking to try a biological and believe in what we do. So, and like we like to say, Ernest, it's grow time.
Thanks for that. Helly or Joe, you have any questions? I like how you added a bunch of slides in there, so more details.
Yeah, guys, good presentation. So something that's kind of and stop me if I've kind of asked this or brought it up before, but in analyzing the biologicals that I've been using, and I've used some of those on your deck, which I guess they're public. So I've used the Pivot Bio, I've used the organics, and what I always wonder is, as I'm trying to transition the farm into a more regenerative, I guess, approach, do the biologicals have the same net effect? And I don't know if you've seen any trial data or lab data to support that. If the products you're testing and developing on a conventional type agriculture have that same benefit that you see in that environment versus one where someone's been doing regenerative practices, such as, no-till, cover crops, strip till, etc. So that's a big question in my own operation. I'm trying to find out, and just wondering if you guys have looked at that at all, or if knowing that would help you target your market more. Because I guess in my mind, biologicals show the biggest promise in a conventional system where a lot of that soil health has been degraded.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is a fundamental question that we went into last year's trials trying to figure out, and that's why we did trials across central U.S. Um, the results from this first trial do indicate that the farming practices that you use will influence the efficacy of biologicals. So you'll get less of a yield boost or return on your ROI if you have regenerative practices from biologicals. So if you have really healthy, awesome soil, you're not going to get as much from the biological products. So I think what you're saying with conventional farming practices, I think they will get more of a boost from the use of our products and other biologicals.
Yeah, and the reality of it is when you're looking at a go-to-market, that conventional ag is still the majority that's out there. Are there guys converting? Absolutely, but that's still the largest portion is your conventional, full tillage guys. So, I mean, that is a huge market to address.
Yeah, absolutely.
LA, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just, let me see.
Okay. I had one texted in. Could you go through your coding process? On your website, it says hassle-free coding process. He's concerned when he hears the coding process referred to. Is this going to be a dealer, seed conditioner, or do you want to go through that process a little bit? Can I take it to my local dealer, or do I need a special treater? How's that?
You oh,
Go ahead, get. I'm pulling up the pictures that we have. So
yes, if you can use your dealer's treater. You don't have to get special equipment. Um, yeah, like we've used other folks' treaters and it works just fine. We pulled like for instance, this is another company's treater. Uh, we put our product in it. We pulled seed afterwards. The microbes are still alive and doing their thing, so it works just fine with other treaters.
yeah, we did a mix. So we built our own seed treater. So just to give you perspective, these well, you guys know is some of these fancy seed treaters are like $50,000, and so we were able to build our own seed treater for $3,000. So we kind of pieced together a bunch of parts, and you can see kind of is on the left. So you kind of see it attaches to a seed box, and then we kind of treat it that way. It is more manual, so we do have to run it through seed boxes to calibrate it because each seed is different. But then yeah, and then it goes through an auger, and then we made sure that the flighting for the auger doesn't crush the seed. So we had to get special order of that, which is a plastic one that has cups on it. And so yeah, so we were able to. So some of the farmers asked for us to treat it, so we went out and treated it, and something we're able to do. Or some farmers had partnerships locally that we leveraged their machines. So usually what we're comfortable doing is one seed box. Um, for the commercial treaters, if it's anything more than a seed box, we can probably do two, but even that's like a new for us. But for like the commercial seed treater, what we did is for a 300-acre farm, we used a commercial treater because it was a lot more quicker than us running it through ourselves. So, and it's more precise. So the commercial treater, it is 50,000 for a reason. So, uh, but you know, we're a small startup making it happen with two pennies. So.
Eddie, could you touch on timing as far as when you're treating and how long the biology is alive anyway, as far as pre-treating, and then just storage and, characteristics of this?
Yeah, so the once applied to the seed, the biological has a 5-week shelf life. At least that's what we've seen in the lab. As long as it's kept like at room temperature and doesn't get like above 100 degrees. Um, the packages that we send out of the solution, we've seen closer to an 18-week shelf life. But once it goes onto the seed, the clock basically starts ticking.
That's good information. So then, temperature dependent. So I guess, once it's treated on farm, if it was in a regular machine shed and you got 90+3 temps, that would probably be detrimental. But if it was in maybe an insulated shop anyway,
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
be acceptable.
that'd be
And
fine. And I will note some of the bacteria will be fine at 90 degrees plus, but I know some of them are more sensitive, like the nitrogen fixers. So I like to be kind of cautious.
well, still 5 weeks, that's a lot better than a lot of products out there. So that's a right pathway and track.
Yeah, we're actively trying to increase that shelf life. So working with different chemistries. And I say we, but it's Gabe. So Gabe is working on the chemistry. So and something I'm pushing because again, it's it's already farming is from what we've learned in the past, it is an operational nightmare. And so we don't want to have any limits on all that, especially since Mother Nature likes to play raining games with us. So uh definitely something that we want to increase by next year.
So
But
I have a question on your formulation. You say you have one for corn and one for soybean. Is that, do you see that switching depending on location, or do you think that it's more specific to the crop than it is to the location?
Yeah, that's another great question. So at this point, we have one product for corn and one for soy. We see as we grow, though, that we're going to end up making specialized formulations for different regions. Simply because soil chemistry is so different, it'll influence the success of the product, but we're limited by what we can put out product-wise. So we do know that the products that we put out do work, but we think we can make more effective products at a regional scale.
That was
And
kind
then
of good.
are
Go ahead.
you looking eventually at, if this works really well with corn and soybean, do you look to increase the variety of crops that you are aiming for? Obviously, I'm out in a specialty seed crop area, not a whole lot of corn, well, some, but not a whole lot of corn and soy here.
Yeah, we're actually right now looking at also applying the products for pinto beans, sunflower, and canola. So we are looking at other specialty crops.
sugar beets, wheat,
Yep.
cotton. We have one trial with cotton. So,
yeah, my background was corn and soy, so that's where we started.
I'm pushing him to do other crops, but he doesn't. So, so,
My
I think
question would go along with what Hele had. Do the Illinois buffalo have the same biome as the North Dakota buffalo? So
Uh, that's a question that I wouldn't know, but I imagine they have different biomes. Yeah, I think the closest buffalo from where I'm at is Nashua. Um, and those were all kind of imported in from what I remember. So, yeah, I bet you they're different.
it probably tastes different.
and then another question is, do you want to go over your data a little more? You had the slide there with the data, and I mean, the question I had myself was when you're talking plant resilience, how are you rating that?
Yeah, so plant resilience was rated by Vigor last year. The farm teams went out and assessed Vigor. We don't have the Vigor scores here, but they were significantly different on average across the sites. For the 2023 trial, which was done at our place, that was done by survival of plants, which I guess we're not showing the survival here. We're just showing the yield differences. But the yield differences were estimated with standard methods. I think most of them use their test combines to get that information.
That would be the CRO plots then, or university, or
Yeah,
combination?
so let's see here. On the table in the bottom right, the Champaign, Illinois, and Rantoul, those were done by hand by us. So we basically harvested all the plants through a thresher, took all the seed and then weighed it out, then put it in a drying oven, weighed it again to get the moisture and test weight and all that info. So we did that manually. But the Troy, Ohio, Sheridan, Indiana, Richland, Iowa, Springfield, Tennessee, and Memphis, Tennessee sites, those were all done with test combines.
Gabe loves to do it by hand, so maybe this year he'll.
Well, I think Santa's going to get us a test combine this year.
I wish I'd have known that. There was one on auction here not too long ago. So
you send me that. I'm a big auction guy, so
okay. Well, I'll see if it's still on there or if it's sold already. But okay. I mean that kind of catches the questions I had texted to me. Joe or Hele, do you have any more? Or?
Yeah, I guess last one I had was so this year did some testing with Rise on my organics, and we were seeing decreased biological diversity, but an increase in species that are beneficial and to actual production. Have you guys seen any results like that anyway, where it's segregating for your biological?
Yeah, so from the initial microbiome data that we've collected, yeah, that sort of phenomenon does seem to happen associated with the plant. The plots that have the decreased diversity can tend to have the plants have really enriched for microbes that are giving it a yield boost or benefit. So that it seems a little confounding, right? That you would want more different types of microbes to get a more reliable benefit, but if the plant has optimized, you can have that decrease, but actually have a increased benefit for the plant. So in short, we have seen similar results.
Any other questions?
Eddie, you're muted.
oh yeah. As I said, we might be doing another trial with we might be doing a trial with Rise up in Ohio. So I'm waiting for them to send me the pricing to see what that looks like, but that's potential this year. So
It'll make your head swim with the data. I can guarantee that.
Gabe loves a good data.
Yeah,
Have you done anything with their greenhouse trial where they tested against all the other products?
Yeah, we haven't given them our product yet because it wasn't patented yet. So once it's patented, then we can give it to them. But
Cool.
that was only a roadblock that we had between working with them is the patent. But
We'll be looking forward to that data this year. So
yeah, I actually just talked to Doug today. Yeah, he gave me a call. I'm like, bro, so I called him and he's like, so it's funny. I called him and he's like, oh, I have a trial. I'm like, bro, when I called you, I'm not gonna spend money. How am I calling you and spending money right now? So it was yeah, good guys.
how do people contact you that watch the video? Earnest.ag or just go hey Eddie, show up.
Yeah, they can call me at 847-483-4487 or email me at eddie@earnest.ag. Or reach out to you, Lauren, and then you can connect them to me. So I'm always open for a phone call. I do love a good phone call. So
And texting.
and I love texting too. So
There you go.
I've been driving. I've been driving the most I have in the past 2 months I've ever driven. I think I put 10,000 miles on my car already. So in like 3 weeks. So
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna shut off recording here.